How's it, everybody? Welcome back to the Nomasburg region. Sanctum Gamer here. We are in episode 39. We have, by this point, by far overtaken City of Tando episodes. And today we are going to be building this fishing docks that I have been wanting to build for quite a while now. So I am glad to finally get around to it. So the idea here is to have the fishing area of this town. If you might remember, I mentioned long ago that this town was going to be centered not just around the rail yard, but it was also going to have a pocket of concentrated industry. Along this entire river, the plan was to always have massive fish industry develop around it. So this town, just like the first town that we built, is going to be a major part of that fishing industry, and this is the first half of me building those fishing docks that are going to make up this town. There's still going to be another bigger one that will come up. It won't be in this exact location, but it will be just on the other side of the river, but somewhat attached to this town, at least in terms of the story of the town. So starting off with putting down all of these boat assets to give the impression that there's a lot of fishing that is going on that has been going on, but then at the same time have all these boats that are sitting there to capture that essence that we've been trying to build up in this town of abandonment. Things are old and dilapidated. So in and around here there's all these boat storages, old boat storage, and the way I try to capture the age of everything is to try and put all these dirt decals and these road damage things and wear and tear and all these things. I try and put them down just to give the impression that a lot of these things have been here for quite a while, and it's not necessarily that they are constantly being used. The boat deployment thing that I put there is not meant to be a completely functional one, but it just gives the impression that there is an area where boats can get on, but it's sort of like an afterthought in a way that because the fishing industry is developed there, it's like it's been pushed off to the side. And yeah, I have no idea why I put it there, but that's where it is. And then we'll develop the rest of the fishing docks or fish docks or whatever it should be called in and around this place. And with this episode, I kept the episode sort of fairly short, and by short I mean the amount of stuff that I built, because it allows me to show more of everything that I place down. I have to cut away less, and I think this style actually helps a lot. It gives you a full view of what I do. And then here we're just laying down the fishing routes. So I think we only do salmon, anchovy, and shellfish fishing. That's the only ones that we put down. Originally I had put down a salmon one, but the salmon spots are very tiny in this area. There is more salmon areas further up the river, so we'll probably put a little bit of that further up. But around here, it's just the shellfish, it's just the anchovies, and those are the ones that I've rooted out here. Now, it took quite a few tries at putting the actual fishing routes down to get an optimal setup, because you want to make sure that your boats are filled to capacity by the time they get back to the actual harbor, I suppose. So the one that you saw was, I think, attempt number 3, if I remember right. In all the others, I always came short or they were too long, so I tweaked them to make sure that I'm not wasting too much time with boats just on the river and not coming back with enough fish. And then continuing the detailing around this, one thing that I wanted is to make sure that the divide between the actual docks and the river was very rigid. So I basically steered away from the natural look of breakwater rocks or just rocks in general. I wanted this area to look like it has been developed. Effort was put in at some point to actually ensure that a proper set of docks were built, places that all this crates and cargo and stuff would be stored. But then at the same time, it isn't particularly well maintained, and that's why a lot of it just looks very run down. And I took a lot of inspiration for this from the the harbour competition a couple of years ago. I don't even remember how long ago it was. When Sunset Harbour first came out, there was a harbour global competition that happened, and I entered that. So I took a lot of inspiration from that time, trying to remember what was my inspiration for building the docks the way that I did, and then I tried to carry a lot of it into this. So we're gonna spend pretty much the rest of the episode just building these docks in and around the river, and then we'll move a little bit inland where we'll build a little bit more industry, as well as the fish market, to give a place for all the fish that are caught here to be sent to, and I guess the local people to come and buy from. Now, whilst the build is still continuing, I just want to take a moment to say a big thanks to each and every single person who got their hands on the map pack. The support that was shown on it is just it has completely blown my mind, and I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you all so much. And again, a big thanks to Paradox Interactive for the collaboration opportunity. I really appreciate it, and my deepest gratitude to each and every single one of you. Thank you. Now, for those who might have missed the live stream bits, I've moved my live streams over to Twitch, but again, multiple live streams is not working like I had set out to do. So at this point, I am conceding to the fact that Twitch is going to be exclusively used for streaming going forward, and I'm not seeing me being able to do it on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, at least not in the foreseeable future. So if you want to catch the streams, please check out my Twitch channel. The link is in the description, and I think I'll just put it up on the screen as well right now so that you can see it as well. That said, about a month or two back, I had been planning an all-day map building stream on my Twitch channel, something that I was not able to do at the time due to life happening, but that is going to happen. I have set aside next week Friday, so exactly a week from the day this video is released, 17th of June, we will be doing an all-day map build over on my Twitch channel. So if you've ever wondered what it takes to, well, not what it takes, but how a map build happens from beginning to end in its entirety, join me on that stream, because we're gonna be starting with a blank map, and the stream does not end until that map is uploaded to the Steam Workshop and it's made available to everybody. So come over next week Friday. We'll be kicking off fairly early, but I'm gonna publish I'll publish the dates and times closer to the time. All right, so that's that. In the meanwhile, continuing with this detailing over here, I wanted to create, I actually don't know what it's called, but I wanted to extend quite a bit of this dock into the actual river. I'm trying to make it not the same as the other one, in the sense that I try and join the, I don't know what to call this, retaining the docks, the retaining wall that sort of separates the river, the water from the actual land. I try and connect them at different points. So with the first one, I left a massive or a bigger gap between the actual harbor, fish harbor dock, and where the rest of the land is. Oh my word, I am horrible with the terminologies when it comes to to this industry. I really have no idea what the terminologies are. I am building something that in my head looks like a fishing dock, or a place where fishing happens, by placing down a whole bunch of boats, a whole bunch of roughed up land and stuff, and then placing all these boats on the river to try and give the impression that the place is actually lively. But the actual terminologies, I'm sorry if I'm completely butchering it because it's really not my area of expertise. But again, what I was trying to talk about earlier is over here, I wanted to create a sort of a separation between the actual land and the rest of the river. And the plan was to have these areas that I'm building at the moment that is extending out into the river, that sometime in one of the live streams, I'm going to tackle this a bit more. So if you see, a lot of the boats are just sitting right next to the wall. Now, practically it doesn't make sense because there isn't really a path for people to walk on to actually get to the boat, or a path for them to get off and walk away from the boats. So I decided to save that for a live stream instead, because that is a little bit more finicky in terms of how to place it. I have to place it on the land, then move it to the river, then adjust it, and so on and so forth. It's the pathways would prove to be a bit more tricky to capture right in this recording. So I've decided I'll save that for a live stream. So in one of the upcoming live streams, we'll actually put pathways there where the boats will be attached to, making it a little more believable in terms of how people get to and from the boats over there. So now we're moving a bit more inland, and here we're gonna have a couple more of the industries. So we've got this one industry sitting to the left there with a couple of trucks, and to the right I'm using the storage warehouses, and I think these are designed to hold, I suppose, any kind of store. I'm really not sure how to put it. Oh my goodness, my throat is failing me, man. I don't know what's up with my voice. It's letting me down. It's almost 2 a.m. here when I'm doing my recording, and I just came off a live stream over on Twitch. I don't know why I didn't just go to bed. Instead, I'm sitting here busy doing a voiceover. No wonder my voice is failing me. Anyways, so continue with this. We're putting down all of these warehouses. Mixing up actual industry buildings and storage warehouses is quite nice because it allows me to bring resources closer to a lot of the factories, and it kind of helps minimize the amount of, I suppose, delivery goods or delivery trucks on the road. But a lot of the warehouses are currently empty, but once we put more and more of the industrial stuff down, they will get filled up. And then here we've got the fish markets down, and I just put a couple of fences and a little detailing just around it, just to give it a little bit more life. I placed down these cafe assets here mainly to try and attract more vehicular traffic to the place. As you can see, a lot of the cars driving in and around this place are trucks, and ideally we want to see a couple more passenger vehicles coming in and out of the place to show people working here, people coming to buy stuff, that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to put a couple of parky things around just to try and bring in, the average civilians, I suppose. And then again, putting down a couple of these factories. I put down those grain silos because we're gonna have a lot of farming industry. So the more farming storage things we can have, the better. But at the same time, I didn't think it would look realistic if there was like a ton of silos sitting here. So I only put these 3, and I'm going to put one more down, but it's actually not a storage warehouse. It's actually a factory. So the game has a huge silo. Well, not huge, but a fairly big silo, which it comes with the Industries DLC. It's meant to be used with the farming asset. This is the one that I'm talking about. But I found somebody had converted this into a regular Industries asset on the workshop. So I got that and I placed that down. So this gives me actual industry as opposed to warehouse storage. So I make, I suppose, a little bit, I don't get as many, delivery trucks coming here, but instead it's regular industries traffic, which is I think a bit better than all those delivery trucks flying up and down. I think we've got enough delivery trucks. But I think the whole place has come down or come together quite nicely. The way the industry has blended from the rail yard down to the fishing docks, I think it's perfect in terms of the look that I was going for. And then finally here, I wanted to get the ferries in. So we're gonna have ferries connecting from this place to the rest of the region. This will be a fairly major stop point. So I put down this big ferry terminal as well as the ferry depot. We've got a ferry depot already, but it's all the way in Charlestown. And I'm worried that if I connect up all the paths, that ferry depot is too far from any path that I might put here. Especially if we're for the path connecting this town to the rest of the towns that will be further up the river. I'm worried that the distances might be too much for that depot. So that's why I put this one here. But otherwise, we're just gonna complete the detailing around here. Just a couple of containers and some roughing up of the place, and then we call it quits. So that's it for the fishing docks. I really like the way this turned out. I hope you enjoyed it. You check out the cinematics, how everything comes together. I think it is quite the eye candy. It's a very proud build of mine. This is the last build episode of Nomasburg for a while. We'll be jumping into City of Tando for the next couple of weeks. But I do have a build competition planned for Nomasburg. So if you're keen on entering or you want to hear more about it, jump onto the Discord server. I will be sharing more information about that in the coming days. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And I hope to catch you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody.